Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, the new Fragment event calendar just got released for the new Fusion, and I want to talk about it a little bit and show you how I am going to approach this Fusion. Okay, so let's take a look. So we are going to have total fragments of 130, 55 from tournaments, 20 from leaderboards, and 55 from events. That means without the leaderboards, we are sitting at 110, which means we can skip 10 fragments. Now, let's see. We have one dungeon divers here. We have another one here and another one here. So that's 3 dungeon divers, right? Then we have one champ training tournament here and another one here. That's 2 champ trains. Yeah, 2 champ train events and tournaments. Then we have one artifact enhancement here, a second one, a third one. All right. Then we have Classic Arena, which is probably the easiest one. So only 2. Yeah, there's only 2. It's 1 and 2, and then we have all the dungeons, right? So the dungeons actually are kind of weird here. I mean, we have Fire Knight and the Spider Tournament at the same time with this Dungeon Divers. That's actually good. So we can definitely combine these, right? So that's like, I don't know, like 2.3k energy. Really depends on which stage you run. I would highly recommend you to run like hard stages because of the chance to get mythical gear, unless you're that far progressed that you don't need any dungeon gear anymore, because you know, the end game players, they just want those 9-piece sets. They don't really care that much about gear from those dungeons. But if you're like in a, you know, if your account is in a state of progression, you should definitely run hard stages if you're able to. If not, it's totally fine if you run like stage 20, for example, because you will get more points per energy. Dungeon divers usually cost around 5.5k energy to complete. Now, as I do not know how many points you actually need to get for these fragments, I'm just like assuming based off of, you know, previous fragment events, but that's basically you know, the average amount of energy you need for those type of events. Now you can also combine the Spider Tournament with the Champ Train Tournament. There are some champs that can solo Spider, so you can definitely level some food here and do champ training tournament at the same time as Spider Tournament. I know there's some champions you can duo or trio with, like lower stages of Fire Knight, but I'm not aware of any champion that can solo it. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that it's paired, like that the champion training tournament is paired with the Fire Knight tournament. But yeah, you should be able to solo Spider with some champions. I know Crypt King Graf, for example, I have a very old video on it, how he was able to solo Spider 24. That's like 2 years ago, but I've seen some videos about Authorion, Warmaster, soloing Spider hard actually, so that, you know, some people might have him, so that's an option. I don't know if any other champion can actually do it, but I have to look into that, and maybe I'll do a video on it. But Yeah, so there's definitely an option to combine Champ Train with Spider Tournament for some players, but yeah, most likely you will have to run campaign, right? So you won't be able to complete the whole champion training tournament with the Spider or soloing Spider, so you definitely need to run campaign. And while you're running campaign, you can also get Dungeon Divers points. Then we got a Champ Chase tournament. Now I really like Champ Chase tournaments because like you have so many options to get points for a Champ Chase. You can, for example, you can use like previous fragment fusions. You can use remnant summons, which is actually really good because sometimes you get an Void Epic, which is 350 points for Champ Chase tournaments. You can also like run campaign and get champions from there. But the best way, honestly, is to use smaller shards, right? So, for example, mystery shards. A lot of people save up a lot of mystery shards, where you can get rare champions, which is like 10 points for a rare champion, which is not bad. If you have like 1,000 or 2,000 mystery shards, that's like 2,000 points plus, right? At least, like the minimum is 2,000. And it's also good if you need food for the next Champ Train event. That way you are prepared with enough chickens. Now, the next best thing will be ancient shards, and also sometimes void shards are not that bad either, because you get like 50 points per void rare and 350 per void epic. So that's pretty strong, pretty solid. So I don't know which type of shard events we're going to have on this Champ Chase tournament, but it's gonna be most likely a 2x, at least I hope so. And yeah, so that's how I attack Champ Chase tournaments. So I use these shards, right? Mystery, Ancients, Voids. I only use Voids if I really have to, right? I'm trying to avoid to use Void shards on Champ Chase tournaments. But if I have to, I'm gonna use them. Now, fusions give a lot of points. Remnant summons give a lot of points. That's how I do Champ Chase tournaments. Then the next tournament is gonna be an Ice Golem tournament. So Ice Golem, and by the time the Ice Golem ends, the new another dragon tournament is going to start, which is kind of weird, right? Because now you have this Dungeon Divers here, but the only dungeon tournament at the same time is Ice Golem. Now, if I look at like event like fusion calendars, I'm always trying to complete 2 or 3 events at the same time, right? Like that's the best case scenario if you can do like 3 events at the same time. And if I take a look at the Dragon Tournament here, we have another Dungeon Divers here, and we also have this Champ Train Tournament. So in my mind, it's like a lot of champions can solo Dragon. That means I can complete, or at least get points for the Dragon Tournament and complete it. And at the same time get points for the Champ Train Tournament and the Dungeon Divers. So it's like 3 events at once, right? here I only have Ice Golem Tournament and Dungeon Divers event, because by the time the Dungeon Divers event ends, the Champ Train event starts. So it's most likely only like a small time frame where you could solo Ice Golem to get points for the Dungeon Divers and the Gem Train event, right? And if you're soloing dungeons, you know, it costs you a lot of time and you might not have it here. So that means, for me personally, I'm gonna skip this Dungeon Divers. Because remember, and this Ice Golem tournament, because remember, we can skip 10 points, right? Because if we take out these 20, we're sitting at 110. Let me move myself to the side. So we're actually sitting at 110 if we don't count those leaderboards fragments in. We're sitting at 110. That means we can skip 10 fragments, and from my perspective, this would be the best choice to skip. You will save 5.5k energy if you skip this, right? So that's pretty solid, honestly. Then we have another artifact enhancement, classic arena. Nothing much to say here. But the summon rush. Now the summon rush, the best thing you can do here is, you know, just use sacred shards. That's the best value for summon rush events. You get 500 points per sacred shard, and you need around probably like 10, or at least I would save up like at least 8, right? At least 8. And then maybe you can, if you need more, to get those 15 fragments, because that's, you get 15 fragments from the summon rush, right? If you need more points for those 15 fragments, you can just use whatever shards you have. But sacred shards is the way to go here. And that's also another thing why I like to save up my void shards, you know, because sometimes you need like, you're missing out on like 1 or 2 sacred shards, and then you have a couple of void shards, which also have a good value, honestly, in those summon rush events. So yeah, guys, fragment fusions overall pretty easy, honestly. Way easier than the traditional ones. Greatel was really a pain. A lot of energy for a fusion that's probably gonna sit in my vault for the rest of my you know, time in raid. But as you can see, it will need around like 11k energy, I guess. Maybe a little bit more if you're trying to complete you know, the champ training events with and tournaments with the campaign. But overall, not too bad, honestly. This Ice Golem tournament and Dungeon Divers event lineup is a little bit unfortunate, so that's really a good reason to skip it and try to run the Dragon Dungeon with a solo champion, level some food, get Dungeon Divers points at the same time, and that's how you know, min-max your resources you need for this fusion. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this calendar. That's my fusion plan. That's how I'm going to approach it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like and a comment. And with that being said, see you in the next video.